right, this is DJ Caroline Demore. As you know, you're listening to Heartbeatz, and I am sitting here with the amazing Marcella Araica. This girl is paving the way in the industry for the most powerful women out there, and she's here on Heartbeatz. What up, girl?
Hey, hey.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
One of the things I want to talk about is how mixing isn't really the first thing that people who are not in the industry think of when they hear a track. But the truth is, mixing can make or break a track.
Absolutely.
And how did you end up thinking, getting into that? How did that end up being something you wanted to do?
Well, as far as mixing, I started off as a recording engineer. I went to a school in Orlando called Full Sail, and it was there where I kind of just learned the foundation of everything of how to become an engineer. You start, more likely you're going to start off being a recording engineer, and as a recording engineer you learn to kind of grab sounds and record the right way and just kind of train your ear to making sure that things are going to sound the right way going into what they call the box now. But when I started, it was going to tape, but now it's going into Pro Tools, and really that's where it all begins. As far as mixing, I started working with Timberland probably my second year in the business, and I met his engineer, Jimmy Douglas. And Jimmy was the guy behind all of those Aaliyah records, early Missy, Timberland Magoo, Genuine. I mean, you name it, just everything that came out of those records, those days was Jimmy Douglas, mixed, touched by him. And I just was like, you know what, this is where it really, the magic begins, or where it really begins and ends, because, like you said, a record can sound one way and people are not going to understand it. And I've had situations where an artist is not feeling the record, and I'll sneak away with the song, mix it down, present it, and it's just oh my gosh, that's it. Because
it's such a big deal. People don't realize you're listening for sounds that you're bringing up and that are more that are popping out to you, and then it almost changes the song completely. There's sounds in there that a lot of people don't even hear until it gets remixed by someone, and then it's oh, I didn't even know that was in the track.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
So it's such an art. It really is such an art that I think is overlooked by, the mass audiences. How does it start? And do you go by the artist and what you think they might be into, little sounds that you think that they might be into? Is it just right off the bat what you're into, or how does it work?
More than likely it's going to be it's more like what I'm into, but obviously I'm going to take away from what they are as an artist and kind of bring that element in. And for the most part, what I'll do is listen down to the song several times before I even start to even begin any kind of process of mixing. I'll listen for it. What I'm listening for at that point is sounds that I either want to bring down, bring up, make fatter, thin it out, because what happens is when you bring in all the elements of different sounds, it's really easy for things to get lost or clog up and what they call mud. It can get really muddy and it just doesn't sound pleasant. So what I'm listening for when I listen down to a song before I mix is just where am I going to go?
Right.
And how I'm going to color that, whether I'm going to color it through an effects, am I going to color it through EQ and compression, or all of the above, And some of the things, it's not like I listen down and I'm like, okay, I got it, and I just start attacking everything exactly how I think about it. Some things don't work. Sometimes it's okay, that's not going to work. Now I have to go back to the drawing board. And, it's just, for me, when I start mixing, I always start with the vocals first, because for me, it's, that's the song, and people want to hear what the song is telling you.
Right.
So I basically want to make sure that my ears are at its freshest point when I'm mixing vocals. And for me, music is so much feel. It's not so much that I hear. I mean, obviously I do hear, but it's such a feel thing for me,
Right.
That just comes so secondary. If the vocals are sitting in the right place and it's colored right and the EQ, I'm loving the way it sounds, the music is just going to surround it and just, it's almost like making love.
Yeah, I love that.
Don't we all?
Yeah, right?